In addition to that, we also want to thank you for all your prayers and support and love through these past several weeks. The family really needed it, and you all came through. Thank you for that as well. Before I get started, though, I do want to point out that this golf club here is a very special place. This is a place where Al spent a lot of time, what I call holding court. We would be out in the courtyard there, and family and friends would come over, and we'd just sip on a beer and talk for hours. Favorite thing in the world to do. We loved it. Okay, now I'd... and I know also, another thing, Dad, I can guarantee you, he's up on a cloud, up there in the sky with Ro, sipping on a scotch and soda with a big smile on his face today, looking at all of us. I'll get started. I'm going to go over Dad's life as briefly as possible. He's a wonderful man, you know that's not going to be easy. All right, Dad was born June 16, 1924, in Detroit, Michigan, the proud parents of Albert and Wanda Green. He was the oldest of three brothers. His brothers were Gerald and William, that we knew as Uncle Jerry and Uncle Billy. He was baptized and raised a Catholic. He attended grade school at Hazel Park, and then finished his grade schooling at St. Mary Magdalene. His high school was Hazel Park High School, where Dad wasn't the greatest student, but he was a very good athlete. He's a very intelligent man, but student, you know how that goes. All 4 years Dad was in high school, played varsity basketball. When he became a sophomore, he was a starting, he was a starting shooting guard and also a small forward. When his senior year came around, Dad was encouraged by his friends to try some other sports. So he decided to go out for football, varsity football, right? Never played before in his life. Ended up being the starting running back and linebacker, going both ways on the varsity football team. You know, stellar athlete. Didn't stop there. Of course, basketball came around. He asked him to try out for baseball. Tried out for baseball. Starting second baseman, never played organized baseball. Starting baseman, second baseman, right? He batted last in the beginning. As the season progressed, they saw he get hit. They moved him up to the third spot, which is, you know, your probably best spot in the lineup, and he never relinquished that position, you know, in the lineup. He was very proud of that fact. After high school, Dad had some odd jobs, you know, in Hazel Park, and then World War II broke out, and he enlisted in the Army, and that was in March of 1943. He served his basic training at Camp McQuaid in Watsonville, California, located in Monterey, California, which is up north of us here. After 13 weeks of training, he became a certified long-range artillery specialist. The first visit to California left a very positive impression on him. I'll leave it at that. His first deployment took him to Fort Hancock in Highlands, New Jersey, where he guarded the port of New York. Dad really liked this assignment because they could go into Manhattan in the evenings and dance, or when they're on leave, and just forget about the Army and enjoy themselves. After spending 11 months in New Jersey, he was deployed to Kodiak, Alaska for 9 months. He said it was the coldest place he had ever been, and he had lived in some cold places, from what he told us. I'm not going to say where, I don't want to slight anybody. He finally finished his tour of duty at Chimaya Air Base in the Aleutian Islands. Dad was honorably discharged on January 30th, 1946. His decorations and citations included a Victory Medal, an Asiatic Pacific Theater Ribbon, 4 overseas service bars, and a Good Conduct Medal. Attaboy, Dad. Such a good kid, huh? Contrary to what we would all think, Dad never drank in his early years. Hmm? Yeah, I know. I don't completely believe him, but he sold his ration of beer and sent the money home to a savings account. When he returned home, he was able to buy his first car with that money. Yeah, so it really, you know, I still question it. After his discharge, he returned to Hazel Park. He decided to try college and attended Central Michigan for 1 semester. fall of 1946. Quickly, he determined college was not for him, and while he was in the service, his parents had purchased a bar up in northern Michigan, and they moved into a city called Rogers City. Dad, kind of struggling, decided that he'd move up there and live with his parents in Rogers City and work in Grandpa's bar. While living in Rogers City, he became a local in no time. One day he was out and about with a girlfriend at a local hamburger joint, and his brother Jerry's girlfriend, Marilyn, asked if he would give her and her friend a ride home. Dad said sure, so he hopped out of the car and let the girls into the back seat. Surprisingly, Marilyn's friend jumped in the driver's seat, pushed his girlfriend off to the side, and said, "Hey, I'm sitting here." That young girl's name was Romaine Marcelliati. From that starting point, Dad and Romaine began dating, fell in love, and they eventually married January 3rd, 1948. Dad, remembering his liking towards California, talked to Mom about moving west, and she liked the idea. So they bought a small trailer and headed to Southern California and landed in a city called Torrance. They both found good jobs and seemed to be enjoying their new lives. Unfortunately, Mom got homesick. She was only 19, and they headed back to Michigan. Dad knew someday that they would return to California. Once back in Michigan, they both found work right away, Dad taking a sales position for a company called Tobin Meatpacking. At this point in their lives, they decided to start a family and bought their first home on Minerva Avenue in Royal Oak, Michigan. Bonnie, Rick, and Sue were born there while we were living there. Well, they were living there. They soon outgrew their home and considered remodeling it. One day, they were out and about, and they stumbled into a new housing tract on Amelia Avenue. They loved the area and found a new home that would better fit the family needs. It was a 1,200 square foot home with a basement. The year was 1956, and they paid about $11,000 for it. We lived at that house through 1966. Myself, Chuck, and Linda were all born there. About the time we moved in, Dad had found another sales position with a company called Rose Packing Company. Being the people person that he was, sales fit him like a glove. He did a great job for Rose Packing in the Detroit area and was highly regarded. One day he heard that California territory was open, was not doing so well. So he approached his boss, Carl Weatherton, and expressed his interest in moving to LA. He then met with Carl again and the owner, Mr. Rose. They thought it was a great idea, but they wanted him to come out and take a look at the territory and come up with a plan. He liked the potential, came up with a plan, and next thing you know, Al and Roe were out looking for a home in the LA Basin. Excuse me there. They found their dream home in Fullerton. It was a huge 2,200 square foot mansion, 4 bedrooms. The year was 1966, and it cost $36,000. Oh, life was good. Dad's career continued to excel during these years. He was promoted to the Western Regional Sales Manager position and one of the most highly respected employees in the company. The years in Fullerton were probably the family's best. Oh yeah, the tiebreaker was born in California, Brother Mike. Final score, boys 4, girls 3. Not that I keep score. Everything we enjoyed, everything Dad and Mom had envisioned was coming true. We enjoyed camping vacations at local beaches as well as trips to Mom and Dad's favorite city, Las Vegas. Not in California, but that was their favorite city. The years flew by, and some of the highlights included a family membership at Candlewood Country Club, Rams football games, tailgating parties, and just a lot of good times. Dad played a lot of golf and was able to get his handicap down to a 6, and he felt as though he could still do better. I'd die for a 6. Yeah. I'd join it for a 6. That's not in the script. I would. I told him I feel the same way.
That was off the cuff.
When retirement came around, Mom and Dad found a place in the desert called Silver Lakes. They bought a lot on a lake and built themselves a custom home. In addition to the lake, the community also had a 27-hole golf course. Mom and Dad could not have been happier. Their dream of retirement together was finally a reality. They golfed, excuse me, fished, and enjoyed many social gatherings in their new community. Unfortunately, retirement years together didn't last long. Mom passed away in April of 1992. Dad was alone for the first time in 40 years. We all visited him often during this time to console him and keep him company. But coincidentally, later that year, Dad had heard of a 50-year reunion party in his old high school, Hazel Park. He decided to attend and to possibly cheer him up. At the event, he ran across his old girlfriend from high school, Eloise Campbell. They hit it off pretty well and spent some time visiting each other for the next several months, eventually marrying in January of 1993. Dad wasn't sure how his kids would handle it, but we accepted Eloise with open arms. They enjoyed 6 years together and traveled extensively throughout the country. It was a retirement that Dad had hoped for. Although eventually Eloise missed her family on the East Coast and they tried to work out living in Florida part of the year, then Dad missed his family. So they eventually had to go their own ways, but are friends to this very day. We're friends to the very end. The years passed quickly. Excuse me. Dad continues life in Silver Lakes, but his vision and hearing began to become an issue. So he sold the lake house and bought a condo near the clubhouse, or as golfers say, the 19th hole. The years passed quickly with his vision continuing to deteriorate. At this point, he made a decision to move down the hill. We were delighted and found him a place to live in Anaheim Hills called the Canyon Hills Club. Dad moved in and loved it. He made friends with everyone he met, and everyone he met and enjoyed the daily activities as well as the local outings that included trips to the racetrack, museums, and local points of interest. Most importantly, he met a lady named Pat McGuire, and their relationship blossomed like a flower. Dad kept very busy during these years. He would start his day at 11 with lunch, then a visit with Pat, off to the daily poker game. Afterwards, he would go straight to dinner and then finish the day by going over to Pat's to visit some more. Basically, you couldn't get a hold of him from 10 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock in the evening. So we had to plan our days around his day, put it that way. He truly enjoyed his routine. In reality, though, we were the lucky ones. We had 5 quality years with Dad. He participated in all the family events, and we were able to visit him anytime we wanted. He was a great dad, grandpa, great-grandpa, and uncle to all of us. His passing is sad, but Dad had enough of this world and was ready to say goodbye. He went peacefully, surrounded by love, and in a place he called home. What could be better than that? He is survived by 7 children and his adopted child, my wife, Lori. They had a very special relationship, and I thank her for all her kindness and generosity and love to Dad. Okay. He is okay, I got that. He survived.
Hang it there, bro.
Couple more minutes, you can do it. You can do it.
He is survived by 7 children, 17 grandchildren, and 1 on the way with brother Mike and Misty, and I'll make 18. And 9 great grandkids. Once again, thank you all for joining us today. Brother Rick is going to get up and take the mic and offer an open mic to anyone who would like to share a story. But one more thing. Dad did share one secret with me at the end. For years, I have been teased about being Mom's favorite from brothers and sisters. Well, guess what? It's Linda's turn. He told me that she was his favorite. Thank you all. I appreciate it.